Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Vimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminithi Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay. Okay. One, 5, 16. Okay. 1, 5, 17. Okay, so 5, 16. Supreme Lord is unlimited, only a very expert personality retired from activities of material happiness deserves to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. So this is mainly the Gnana Marga. So Narada Muni is saying that only those who have retired from activities of material happiness, which means who have crossed the karma platform, they deserve to understand this knowledge of spiritual values, which is actually Gnana. So they come to Gnana, but therefore those who are not so well situated, who have not retired from activities of material happiness, what should they do? Those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization by your goodness through the descriptions of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. So Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is meant for not necessarily for Gnanis. Gnanis also, liberated souls also experience, relish Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, but it is mainly meant for those common people who are still attached to karma, who are still attached materially. So we can imagine how powerful this process is, because for those who are already detached from material attachment, then it's easy, right? But for those who are materially attached also, the process is to hear transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. Okay, now having said this, Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam haret bhajan apakvota patet tato yadi yatra kvava bhadram abhudamushrakim ko vartapto bhajatam swadharmata. One who has forsaken his material occupations, tyaktva swadharmam. In Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, verse 31, Krishna says, Swadharmam api chaveksha na vikamputam arasi. He's telling Arjuna, you have to do your swadharma in Bhagavad Gita. Here he is saying, tyaktva swadharmam. One who has tyaktva, one who has given up his occupational engagements. For what? Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam harer. To engage in devotional service of the Lord. May sometimes fall down while in an immature stage. May sometimes fall down, meaning they might go away from bhakti. Or they might be at some platform, then they might come down to a lower platform. For example, then maybe the sannyasi, they might come to grasta, for example. Yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. So no use in karma. Suma Mataji, you had asked me before, right? Karma, following karma process, no use if he's a non-devotee. And for a devotee, it's okay to even give up material occupations. But of course, this should not be done whimsically, because then the person will fall down in an immature stage. So it should be done with consulting seniors, guru, etc. Right? So that we reduce the chances of fall down. Because if we take up the process sentimentally, then we might fall down. But still, there is no loss. There is no danger. So Prabhupada has written a beautiful purport here. He's saying one can give up all responsibilities and surrender fully. Now, what this responsibilities mean? Devarshi bhutaptanranam pitranam na kinkaro nayam runicha rajan sarvatmana yash sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihartya kritam. We have all these 6 kind of obligations, but one who has surrendered fully to Mukunda, who is the giver of liberation, he has no obligations. Deva, Rishi, Bhuta, Apta, and Dranam, Pitranam. Deva, demigods, Rishi, are sages. Devarshi, Bhuta, other living entities. Apta, loved ones. Dranam, human beings, other human beings. Pitranam is forefathers. Can give up all responsibilities. And one can surrender fully. So Prabhupada is saying stress is given here to surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord, even if there is chance of falling down, because even though one falls down from prescribed duties of devotional service, he will never forget the lotus feet of the Lord. So in one sense, it means that, okay, we should not be worried about whether we're going to fall down, not fall down, and then not take up a particular process. At the same time, it should be a more mature decision and not sentimental, whimsical. Okay, so here Prabhupada has given the examples of Bharat Maharaj, Chitraketu and Ajamila in the purport. So we all know Bharat Maharaj, he actually gave up everything. And he goes to Pulaha Ashram and he engages alone doing bhakti. And he actually reached the stage of bhava, which is just one step before prema. Right? But then, because he got attached to a deer, the Acharyas say was his own free will that he misused, that he had to fall down. But he did not forget the Lord, because in the next life, even as a deer, he was able to remember his past life and his devotional service and everything. And then Lord gave him the mercy to again take birth in the house of a Brahmana, and then he fulfilled perfection. Chitraketu is also a great devotee. Now his fall down is not actually that way. Okay, Chitraketu is a very difficult to understand pastime. Vrutrasura, he becomes Vrutrasura. But then again, he achieves perfection, even though he fell down to, though it was not necessarily, I mean, we can say that there was no mistake of his in that he was cursed by Parvati Devi, but he became Rudrasura, but then he achieved perfection after Rudrasura, life as Rudrasura. Ajamila, we all know. Again, born in a Brahmin family, cultured, engaged in spiritual activities, etc., etc. Fell down, associated with prostitute, wasted his life. At the end, he can remember the lotus feet of the Lord. Actually, it is said that because of his previous devotional service, he got inspired by the Lord to name his last son Narayana. And actually, at the time of death, when he called out Narayana, he actually remembered Narayana. Though he was more, he called out his son. But that was the mercy of the Lord, that he gave him remembrance of himself. So he will never forget the lotus feet of the Lord, Prabhupada is saying. Once somebody has surrendered, not just simply whimsically coming, for some time we were in bhakti, then we vanished, not like that. One was surrendered. One was surrendered unto the lotus feet, even if by chance he falls down for whatever reason, he says he will never forget the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is very, very important. So we should not, what is our contemplation? Our contemplation is whether we are really surrendered, whether we are really inspired to serve the Lord in that way, etc., etc., and not so much about, whether I will fall, whether I will not fall. So it should be natural. It should be natural. That is why in bhakti we don't push anybody. Like, if you feel like doing, do. If you don't feel like doing, it's fine. Right? Because by pushing, nothing is going to get accomplished. But we are there with people and we are letting them know, see, okay, this you can do. But if sometimes devotees also sometimes are immature, not knowing the real benefit, and they might take wrong decisions, we will tell them, saying that, see, what you're doing is not correct. But whether they want to correct, change their ways, etc., that is up to the individual. So bhakti is never forced. Lord himself, Supreme Lord himself, doesn't force bhakti on us. But if somebody is mature, surrendered, then he or she doesn't have to think so much about, oh, can I give up? Can I do this, do that, and all that. You can take the guidance of guru, senior devotees, etc., and then take the path. And it is glorious. And Prabhupada actually in this purport says it doesn't matter. Even if they fall down, it doesn't matter. Devotee will never forget the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay. तस्यैव हेतो प्रयतेत कोविदो न लभ्यते यद्भ्रमथामुपर्यतः तल्लभ्यते दुःखवदन्यतः सुखं कालेन सर्वत्र गभीररम्हसा. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined. Kovidaha. Kovidaha also means expert. So here Prabhupada is saying philosophically inclined. What should they do? Should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not attainable even by wandering from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patala, which is not obtainable. So even in Brahmaloka, it is not obtainable. Even in lowest planet, it is not obtainable. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time. Just as in course of time we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them. So which means what? This material happiness, distress will just come and go. Whenever it has to come, it will come. Whenever it has to go, it will go. But what should we endeavor for? That purposeful end. Purposeful end is to achieve pure love for Krishna. Who should endeavor? who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined. Why philosophically inclined? Otherwise, if you're not philosophically inclined, then we will be materially inclined, right? And if you're intelligent and materially inclined, then we get stuck badly in this material world. Even if somebody is foolish and materially inclined, it's okay, because they will not have so much intelligence to make plans to get stuck. But somebody is intelligent and materially inclined, very bad combination, which is most of the people in the material world right now. So Prabhupada, in the purport, he says all positions in this material world are temporary. So he talks about how somebody could go to Brahmaloka, Marloka, Tapaloka, Janloka, Satyaloka, Svarloka, Bhur, Atala, Vitala, Sutala. All planets, wherever you go, whatever you achieve, all positions are temporary. But the philosophically inclined person must not be tempted by such changeable positions. Should not be tempted by changeable positions. That means aspects about this material world, everything is changeable, including our own body, our possessions, our family, etc., etc., etc. We should not get tempted. We should not get attracted towards these things, because it's all changeable. If you get attracted, then when we lose it, then we'll be distressed. Saying the philosophically inclined person should try to get into permanent life of bliss and knowledge, where he will not be forced to come back to the miserable material world, either in this or that planet. So intelligent persons who are philosophically inclined must not get pulled by this temporary material world around us. It's very important, because we should know that it is all changeable. There's no point in getting attached to any position which can potentially change. So we should try to get into permanent situation of bliss and knowledge. Everyone has his destined happiness also, just like destined suffering. No one can get more or less of these things simply by personal endeavors. And this is a very difficult statement to understand. So how do we understand this statement? No one can get more or less of these things simply by personal endeavors. Meaning, what should we do?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Everything depends on the mercy of the Lord.
Everything depends on the mercy of the Lord.
By our endeavor.
So should we endeavor? Should we not endeavor?
We must endeavor with the remembrance of the Lord. I feel, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Even then the result, if it is favorable or unfavorable, we have to accept. That
Okay.
should be our mindset.
Okay. What about others? Hare Krishna. So many people are there, all silent. Yes, Mataji.
Pranam Prabhuji. Just wanted to share a point on this. Like, it's very difficult for materialistic people to digest this. Like, when we tell them ki you'll get whatever is there in your fate or whatever has been destined for you, they don't understand that. They are like ki we will endeavor, we'll work hard and change our
destiny.
Yeah, change our destiny. So I personally have arguments about this with people. Like, I tell them ki whatever is there in your destiny, you'll get that by Lord's mercy, but they are not ready to accept this fact. They say we can make our destiny, we can change it, we can endeavor, over endeavor and things like that. They find it hard to digest that whatever quota is fixed for us, we are going to get that only.
Yeah, you are referring to other people who are not devotees. I am concerned that even devotees are like this. Even devotees endeavor, right?
But I personally feel like we should not over endeavor in things like whatever is there in our karma, it automatically comes. Like I'm not able to explain, but I have realized this.
Yeah. Okay.
And to karmi people, it's very like weird going. They think like
They can't
we are
understand. Yeah.
talking weird
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
Motivational speakers and all, they are lecturing and all that. Yeah, just
Okay, let's not go into motivational speaker route. Okay. Okay. Others.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
One second, Suma Mataji. Harnath Prabhu.
Okay.
This is correct, Prabhu, but still actually like we'll do like more endeavor like due to the situation or something.
No, but
we do
why we do more endeavor?
Yeah.
That is the important part. That's what we have to think about.
The situation.
Sourced by the situation. Like what situation is forcing us to more endeavor?
If work itself like more than 12 hours of
Okay, that way. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and also like basically to come out right, it requires a lot of like courage or like fearlessness, right?
Fearlessness. Okay.
That's what-
Fearlessness. Okay.
Yeah, even though, but theoretically we'll accept it, but practically we'll go through like
Okay.
flow. Yeah.
Go with the flow. We don't want to swim against the current of the river. We want to swim in the direction of the current. Easy. Okay. Yeah, Suma Mataji, then I think Rupa Mataji unmuted. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, in one of the purports yesterday we said in that it is written 6.24. God helps only those who help themselves. So what I feel is that, and sometimes Prabhupada also says, whatever is your quota, you will get it. You need not work hard for it. So sometimes yesterday I felt that it is a bit contradictory now.
Confusing. It's not contradictory. It's confusing for us. Actually, he is not saying in that line. Okay, I'll explain. Okay. Rupa Mataji.
Yes, so Hare Krishna. Prabhu, they said like if you work hard now, maybe in future you will be well accomplished. So you work hard now, but it is not like this. Whatever is destined for us, that will happen. It is not like how much we work hard materially, like this one.
Okay. So so two things. See, whenever we talk about karma, we should talk in two parts. Okay. So first is a devotee who is completely surrendered to Krishna. So he is Diksha Kale, Bhakta Kare, Atma Samarpan. So who is completely surrendered the lotus feet of Krishna and spiritual master. In that devotee's life, there is no role that karma has to play. Karma doesn't play any role in that life of that devotee. Though whatever is happening seems like karma. Okay, so this is number one. Number two, Prabhupada here is not referring to surrendered devotees. Prabhupada is generally saying for karmis only. He's saying simply we think we can put effort and we can achieve, but for them it is destined by their karma and they cannot overrule it. Though they are in illusion, like Ruchira Mataji is saying that they think that they can put effort and achieve something. And actually, see, the beauty of this illusion of this material world is actually experience contradicts our statement that, even if you put endeavor, you won't get anything. Because what will happen is that person's karma phala will induce him to think in such a way that he will put effort. And in possibly most times, they put more effort and they get result. Right, only the few fortunate ones put a lot of effort, they don't get result, then they turn towards higher, cause. But most of the karmis, because they are destined to have a maybe happy materialistic life, they put more effort, they get more results. So sometimes it even contradicts life's experience when we go and tell people like this, saying that no, you don't have to endeavor, you will anyway get. Actually, we don't have to endeavor at all, not even over endeavor. This we will not able to understand right now. We don't even have to endeavor. As in, today we say, okay, see, I have to get food, so I have to cook. Only then I'll get food. If I don't cook food, will I get food? Absolutely, you will get food. That is avadhuta. Then ajagara vritti. Ajagara vritti is just leaping like a python. 11th canto, we'll understand this. So that is another level wherein people are so surrendered to the Supreme Lord, say like Madhavendra Puri, no Madhukari, no begging business. If something comes, then Krishna sends, he sends. Otherwise, no endeavor at all. So that is a very high level of surrender. Right. And then it's not for all people. It's for like really selected, those who are really at that stage of, surrender and faith to the Lord. And of course, I mean, with that also, we should have the will to tolerate. So, for example, Srila Prabhupada had once, he had a tooth, some swelling in the tooth enamel or something, and he didn't go to the doctor. He just tolerated severe pain. Maybe others might not be able to. Right. So it depends on where we stand. So for karmis, they will want to endeavor, and their life experience might have showed them that if you put effort, you will get result. So they will continue to endeavor. They cannot understand this. So we should not go and push them in that direction, because their life experience is different and people believe practical than theory. So we should not push them. Right. Second is, are those devotees neophytes, new in Krishna consciousness, and they want best of both worlds. They want spiritual life and as well as material comforts, and they are still in that karmi mindset, so they will put more and more endeavor. So for them, the advice is don't over endeavor. Right. Then for devotees, it is just as much effort as is required to fulfill our responsibility if it is in connection with devotees or family, which is also devotee. Right. Then once somebody makes more progress, they might even give up their family responsibilities and then only engage in bhakti, but still they might engage, food, etc., basic necessities, they might still endeavor. Some even further advanced might not even endeavor for basic necessities. So there are different levels in which we can look at this, right? But Prabhupada here is specifically addressing karmis who are wasting time in flimsy things. Prabhupada is saying even if they're obtained, they can be lost again. So, for example, this is also an important statement. Say somebody made some effort and got something. Prabhupada is saying it can be lost again if it is not destined in karmapala to be retained. So, in some sense, this sounds like you're not destined for something, but you put effort, you get something because you put that effort, but you lose it because you're not destined to get it, right? So like that. So he's saying one should therefore not waste time with these flimsy things. One should only endeavor to go back to God. So we should know what level of surrender we are in, what is our stage, etc., etc. And also we should not think we are more qualified than what we are. This is also many times, many senior devotees I've heard in classes saying that everybody thinks they're a pure devotee. We should not be in illusion about our spiritual position. Many times, devotees have expressed contradictory thought processes. On one end, they talk like they are surrendered, but in their actions, they're not surrendered. So then, we have to be clear where we stand, etc. So Mataji's point about, God helps those who helps themselves. This is not for karmis. This is for those who want to go towards the path of Krishna. God will help. Because they want to pull themselves out of this, mire of material world. But but another way of looking at it is, suppose I have a desire, like Sachin Tendulkar had a desire to become a cricketer, right? So he practiced, played, etc. in his previous life. Now God helped him. Paramatma helps him in his next life. He will remember. He will again continue his practice. He will then become a great cricketer. So that way also God helps those, right? But the real help is when we want him, right? Then Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena upayanti. So anyway, things have to be slightly understood in context also sometimes. Okay. So let's move to the next word. न वैजनो जातु कथञ्चनाव्रजेन् मुकुन्द सेव्यन्यवद्दङ्ग संस्कृतिम् स्मरन् मुकुन्दाङ्घ्रि उपगूहनं पुनर्विहातुमिच्छेन रसग्रहो जनः. My dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruity workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. So he does not undergo material existence like others. He doesn't live life like a karmi again, even if he falls down. Because he has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord, he can do nothing but remember the ecstasy again and again. A devotee of the Lord automatically becomes uninterested in the enchantment of material existence because he is rasagraha, one who has tasted the sweetness of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So rasa here means sweetness. How do you taste the sweetness of the lotus feet of Lord? It's not like we go and lick his lotus feet. Sweetness is in terms of reciprocation of Krishna, love of the devotee. Krishna reciprocates. And his reciprocation is always sweet, madhura. So one who is if he is a rasagraha, then he automatically becomes disinterested, uninterested in material existence. If you have not experienced the rasa of Krishna consciousness, then we remain attached to material existence. So that is why we encourage devotees to do devotional service in in being in touch with, being in the association of other devotees. Because rasa can only be experienced in the association of other devotees. Only very few exalted devotees can experience rasa individually. Right? But like Bharat Maharaj, he went alone to the forest and unfortunately he had to fall down. So we cannot think of doing bhakti alone. So we will get attached or pulled by the enchantment of material existence. So we have to experience the rasa of Krishna consciousness, for which we have to engage in the association of other devotees. And of course, other pure devotees. There are certainly many instances where devotees of the Lord have fallen down due to uncongenial association. Just like fruity workers who are always prone to degradation. But even though he falls down, a devotee is never to be considered the same as a fallen karmi. That is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Abhichetsu duracharo sadureva hi mantabhyaha, he says. Abhichetsu duracharo, even if suppose say somebody does something wrong and falls down, he should still be considered a sadhu. Of course, prolonged, wrongdoings and he might fall down. But Prabhupada here is saying, even though he falls down, he should not be considered as a karmi. Why? A karmi suffers the result of his own fruitive actions, whereas a devotee is reformed by chastisement directed by the Lord himself. So this is very, very important. That is why this looks like karma phala. When there is chastisement, it looks like karma phala. But we don't know whether it is karma phala or chastisement. We don't know. I mean, karma phala is also chastisement, or is this special mercy, special chastisement directed by the Lord himself. So here Prabhupada is saying the sufferings of an orphan and the sufferings of a beloved child of a king are not one and the same. An orphan is really poor because he has no one to take care of him, but a beloved son of a rich man, although he appears to be on the same level as the orphan, is always under the vigilance of his capable father. A devotee of the Lord, due to wrong association, sometimes imitates the fruity workers. The fruity workers want to lord it over the material world. Similarly, a neophyte devotee foolishly thinks of accumulating some material power in exchange for devotional service. Such foolish devotees are sometimes put into difficulty by the Lord himself. As a special favor, he may remove all material paraphernalia. By such action, the bewildered devotee is forsaken by all friends and relatives. And so he comes to his senses again by the mercy of the Lord and is set right to execute his devotional service. So Prabhupada is giving a specific example of people who are materially attached, and Lord might show a special mercy by chastising him, by taking away whatever he has. But this is not for everybody. We should not think that, oh, I'm so exalted that the Lord is punishing me right now. Generally, Lord will not punish unless, like Prabhupada said in his book, Vrindavana Bhajane, so he says that Lord took everything away from me. Now I'm able to understand why. It is his great mercy on me. Only for very exalted devotees, Lord will chastise them personally. But otherwise, devotees, if they're not fully surrendered, then they might suffer their karma phala. Right? And that is why a devotee is safe. He always thinks, I am very fallen. I have so much to suffer, but Krishna has given me only little. No devotee, real devotee will think, oh, I'm so exalted. This is Lord's direct chastisement on me, direct mercy on me. No, he says, I'm far from Lord's mercy. I'm just a fallen, person attached to material things, and it's just my karma phala. And Krishna is so merciful that he's actually giving me only little of my suffering. Prabhupada writes, this is a beautiful purport actually. You should read this again and again. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that such fallen devotees are given a chance to take birth in the family of highly qualified brahmanas or in a rich mercantile family. A devotee in such a position is not as fortunate as one who is chastised by the Lord and put into a position seemingly of helplessness. So those who get this mercy from the Lord, they are put into position seemingly of helplessness, but they are more fortunate, Prabhupada is saying, than the devotee who becomes helpless by the will of the Lord is more fortunate than those who are born in good families. The fallen devotee is born in a good family may forget the lotus feet of the Lord because they are less fortunate. But the devotee is put into a forlorn condition is more fortunate because he swiftly returns to the lotus feet of the Lord, thinking himself helpless all around. So this is a great position to be in, to feel completely helpless. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi Sunichena. If we think that I am capable, I am this, I am that, then we will not feel that helplessness, then we will not surrender to the Lord. But those who feel helpless all around, they will swiftly return to the lotus feet of the Lord. So in summary, suffering is a blessing. Those who are not suffering should feel that they're not fortunate enough. Because actually we cannot understand. We cannot really understand firsthand what suffering of this material world is. We might still have some reasons to be attached to this material world, etc. But a devotee who has gone through suffering, either be his own karma or mercy of the Lord or whatever, he will know clearly saying that, oh, this world is not a good place to be in. And he will develop that more deeper attachment with the Lord. So Prabhupada is saying he's more fortunate. Pure devotional service is so spiritually relishable that a devotee becomes automatically uninterested in material enjoyment That is a sign of perfection in progressive devotional service. So how do we know if we are making progress? If we have developed material detachment or uninterest in material enjoyment, then we know that we are making progress. Okay, any questions, any thoughts? Okay. Idam
Hare Krishna,
Vishwan.
Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you said that sometimes we say surrender to the Lord. We keep saying surrender to the Lord, but actually we wouldn't have surrendered. So what does that mean, Prabhuji? Just verbally we say surrendering to the feet of the Lord.
We just verbally, and sometimes we just think that we have surrendered. We actually don't know if we have surrendered or not. Right? Because when I ask this question, what is surrender? What is the answer? What does surrender mean?
Completely relying on the will of the Lord and accepting whatever comes as the blessing of the Lord.
No, we should technically understand what surrender is. What is surrender? I've told this in the Bhagavad Gita classes many times.
6 aspects are there, like
6
in a
aspects
helpless
of surrender.
condition.
No, not helpless. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, rakshishati iti vishwaso, goptritve varnam tata, atmanikshepa karpanyo, shadvida sharanagati. So ultimately in sharanagati there is karpanya, which is humility. Then atmanivedanam, giving ourselves up at the lotus feet of the Lord, which means that we literally don't have an separate existence. As in, we don't think about our food, we don't think about our sleep, we don't think about anything about ourselves. It's a very tall order. So we can never say we are fully surrendered. We can say I'm on the process of surrender. I'm in the process of surrender. But those who are in the process of surrender, if they think that they're already surrendered, then they're in illusion. And thinking that I am surrendered, then we will think, oh, see, I'm pure devotee. There's no end to the perfections in bhakti. So pure devotee always looks at other devotees and says, oh, he's so nicely devoted to the Lord. I am such fallen, so fallen. I don't have love for Krishna. Right? So those who are thinking they are surrendered are not surrendered. It's a very tall order. So, but we should continuously keep endeavoring on that path. And then we can come, Rakshishiti Vishwaso Goptrite Varnam Tata Atma Nikshepa. Then we'll come to this Atma Nikshepa. Atma Nikshepa literally means that I just think I'm the servant of, if I'm a grihastha, that I'm servant of the house. I have no possessions of myself. Right? To the extent that if somebody gives food, we'll take, otherwise we won't take food. Right? So it's like a very tall order. So we can gradually move in that direction. Right? But it will take time. First we have to get over kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. First we have to get over anarthas. Then only there is question of surrender.
I keep saying, Prabhuji, surrendering at your lotus feet, Krishna, every day, Prabhuji. So I was thinking that is only the surrender. No, but willingly we don't know. We are doing so much of mistakes and every day, not fully depending. Still we have so many.
Yeah, no, I mean, see, we have to understand the process clearly, right? It's not a sentimental thing. It's good to think that we should think that, okay, I'm trying to surrender. We should not think that I'm surrendered. We should think I'm trying to surrender. And what is surrender? Anukulyasya sankalpaha, pratikulyasya varjanam, rakshishati iti vishwas, for full confidence. We should never stand in front of the Lord and pray for anything for us, ourselves. Rakshishati iti vishwaso. Goptatve varnam tata. Who is taking care of us? Not me. Who is cooking? Not me. Who is earning money? Not me. Krishna is maintaining my house. Krishna is maintaining me. And in this mode, completely Krishna, you are maintaining, you are protecting me. So I just offer myself at your lotus feet. And humility is the foundation for all this. So if you don't have humility, if we are not taking decisions as per Anukulisa Sankalpa Pratikulisa Varjanam, if we are not don't have full faith that Krishna is protecting, if you are not surrendered to Guru, all these are indications that we are not surrendered, that we have false ego.
Prabhuji, then what about prayers, Prabhuji? Should we pray or we should not pray?
Yeah, we should
God,
pray
however,
that. No, we should pray what? What will we pray?
To bless us with the best devotional service that we should
Yeah,
be.
so we should pray, but we should not think that we are at that stage. Point I'm making is we should also pray that Krishna, may I completely surrender to you and my Guru Maharaj, like that, right? Like we should pray that we are not qualified, we are helpless. We will endeavor, but we need your causeless mercy. We should definitely pray, but we should not think that we've reached any level. That's the point I'm making.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Idam hi vishwam bhagavani vetaro yato jagatstana nirodha sambhavaha tadhi swayam veda bhavam satapite pradeshamatram bhavata pradarshitam. The Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, is himself this cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. From him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated, in him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a synopsis. So till now, Narada Muni has glorified devotional service, path of bhakti, etc. because he told Vyasadeva, why you are not satisfied? Because you have not described this. You have not described Supreme Lord. You have not described devotional service. These are the glories of devotional service, and this is the glory of the Lord. He is himself this cosmos. He is still aloof from it. Everything comes from him, etc., etc. Your good self knows all about this. Bhagavat Tattva, you know all about this. I have given only a synopsis. So which means he's saying now we have to expand on these topics. Yeah, so there's nothing much to say here. As in, there's long purport, but most of the stuff we know, we are aware. Kamatmanatmanamaheshyamokadrik parasya pumsa paramatmanah kalam ajam prajatam jagatas shivayatan mahanubhava bhyudayo diganyatam. Your goodness is perfect vision. You yourself can know the Supreme Personality of Godhead because you are present as the plenary portion of the Lord. Although you are birthless, you have appeared on this earth for the well-being of all people. Please therefore describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, more vividly. So Vyasadeva is the plenary portion of the Lord. So you are birthless, but you have appeared here for the well-being of the people. So please describe transcendental pastimes more vividly. You describe it here and there, but you please describe it more vividly. Okay, one more verse. We'll start. Idam mipumsas tapasashrutasya va svishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoh avichyutortha kavibhirnirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerity, study of Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord who is defined in choice poetry. Uttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. So everything, the essence or finally everything is to come to the stage of glorifying the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, human intellect is developed for advancement of learning in art, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, economics, etc. By culture of such knowledge, human society can attain perfection of life. This perfection of life culminates in the realization of Supreme Being. Shruti therefore directs that those who are actually advanced in learning should aspire for the service of Lord Vishnu. Now, how he says, subsequently saying that all these branches should be wholly and solely applied in the service of the Lord. Art, literature, poetry, painting, etc. Everything must be used to glorifying the Lord. A philosopher, he should glorify the Lord. Scientist should glorify the Lord. Physicist should glorify the Lord. Artist should glorify the Lord. Poet should glorify the Lord. So everything, literally everything, should culminate in transcendental description of the Lord. If anything, any form of knowledge, material or otherwise, even transcendental knowledge, if it doesn't culminate in the transcendental description of the Lord, then it is futile. It's useless. Because even transcendental knowledge, if it takes us to Brahman, and what is the use? We'll again fall down. It has to culminate in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, Lord's pastimes, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Parikara, etc. Right? But see how misdirected the civilization today is, that all these different branches are all actually literally become atheists. They are going against the design of the Lord. Lord created all these so that people can understand through all these various branches how He is supreme, how they have to surrender to Him. But people today are using all these to go away from Krishna, to go away from theism. So we are completely in contradiction with the design of this material world. And therefore, people suffer in this material world, right? So we should understand the design of the material world, understand the intent of all these different branches of knowledge is eventually to understand the Supreme Lord and glorify Him. So whatever we are doing, eventually we have to come to the platform of glorifying the Lord. Okay, so with this we will stop here, because next verse is beautiful. I should tell, don't miss these verses. This is the history, life of Sri Narada. It is simply amazing. And it has a deep relevance to all of us. It will show us how we can achieve perfection in devotional service by simply engaging in whatever process has been given to us. It's a very powerful narration of how Narada Muni achieved perfection. So, I mean, of course, if you don't attend tomorrow's session, it's fine, but you please read these verses from, tomorrow I'll be using commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Actually, there are a lot of insights here. Normally, Prabhupada actually gives us, in what is required for us, but it's also good to know some things deeper, in a deeper way, so that we can, of course, because like I said, always we have to read, understand Prabhupada, then we can also read from Acharyas. So specifically these set of verses, so we'll read from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also. So it'll be a very interesting discussion, because Narada Muni was a very ordinary boy, right? And he achieved perfection. And he is explicitly explaining that here to highlight the point that the transcendental vibrations, like hearing of the transcendental description of the Lord, are so powerful that he had a practical experience of that in his life, that he became Narada Muni by just associating with devotees and hearing about Supreme Lord. So it's a very powerful narration. So Krishna willing, we'll hear it tomorrow. Okay, so I'll stop here. If anybody has any other questions, comments, we can discuss.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the 6 types of Rinas Prabhuji, you said. Deva, Rishi, Apta, Bhuta, Pitran, and one more Prabhuji.
Nrinam. Nrinam is, human beings.
Thank you.
It is there in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter. Can't remember the verse, before verse 30, I think.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Obligation. Where does Krishna say? Somewhere, I can't remember. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay. If there's nothing else, then please share takeaways. What happened today? All silent. Rupamataji, చెప్పండి.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hmm.
A person who has surrendered unto the Lord, giving up all his material activities, and still by mistake if he falls down, in that case there is no chance of any danger. He will not forget the lotus feet of Lord.
Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Philosophically inclined person should not attract to temporary changeable things. He should try into the permanent life.
Okay.
Purposeful end, basically.
Purposeful end. Okay. Okay, others?
Experience assign association with devotees.
Experience rasa in association with devotees. Okay. Arnath Prabhu has written so much notes. So he's can see is changing, turning his pages. Others can also try.
First get out of anartha, then surrender.
Get out of anarthas in the sense, I mean, unless we got out of anarthas, we couldn't have reached the perfection of surrender. So we should start the surrender process. Surrender process itself will take us out of anarthas. But if you have anarthas on one end, on the other end, we are thinking we are surrendered, that's not correct. If I sounded that way, that we should not surrender till anarthas have gone, that's not correct. That if anarthas have not gone, we cannot think that we are already surrendered. That's the point I want. Okay, anybody else? Okay. Fine. We'll see tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah anantakoti vaishnavavrinda ki jai Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.